2.4 kilometres, the track circuit here at Levels Raceway in Timaru. Anti-clockwise, the direction as they line up on the BP Ultimate grid. And it's the same way they finished race one. Scott and Fogg on the front row of the grid.
Row 2 sees Johnny McIntyre and Craig Baird.
Then it's Timmy Edgell, top 5 finish in the first race. Alongside him, Andrew Anderson.
Then have Andy Booth, beside him the Ford of Eddie Bell.
Dale Williams in the SCG Racing Ford. Alongside him, the Christchurch racer Adam Brook.
Then have Michael Bristow, next door Andy Knight.
John Penny out of Taupo. Alongside him, Paul Manuel with the experiments for this race.
And then Inky Tulloch, a new boy to the class, Mac Peach.
Luke Yulden back from Melbourne, back into the race alongside the local man, John Hepburn.
And Alan McHarrison, and then the hero of qualifying, Nick Ross.
Richards and Paul Pedersen down the rear of the grid after problems in race one.
So another man experiencing problems with Andrew Porter, and next door to him is Chris Adams.
And it's the young 17-year-old David Hopper from Hobsonville. He's quite happy to get the experience running at the rear of the grid in the BNT V8s. Race 2, 16 laps at Timaru. And drama already at the start. Delayed start because of problems for Inky Tulloch. So the field doing a couple of laps under the safety car. Good crowd here always at Timaru. The Southern fans love their V8s, love their racing. And these two guys love starting right at the front of the grid. What's going to happen as they wait for the 5 red lights to go out? Remember, they're doing about 50k first gear start. Fujitsu Ford of Kane Scott alongside the LG Ford of Foggy. Good clean start down to the first corner. Foggy a little bit sideways, twitching it through. A little bit of a nudge there from Craig Baird, but Kane Scott straight away into the lead through Castrol.
Clint never ceases to amaze me. Here we are on the slowest, tightest circuit in the country. Everybody gets through the first 2 or 3 corners totally unscathed.
On board, a great shot with Angus Fogg looking from the rear of the car.
Oh, it's an incredible camera angle, isn't it? You can see the door just starting to flap. That's the pressure inside the car, the aerodynamics working against it.
There's the great power glide you get in these BNT V8s. Coming out of the fast corner onto this tight, twisty part of the track.
One thing we've always seen about this circuit, the drivers have to try to execute their passing manoeuvres on the first and second lap. What happens from there on in? The cars get momentum, everybody gets in a rhythm, makes it very hard to pass.
Especially on cold tyres at this part of the day.
It does, yeah, but you know, the tyres will build up pretty quick. There's a little bit of temperature left in the track.
Oh, bit of drama there for Dale Williams, just been shown the door by Adam Brook.
Yeah, I don't know if he was assisted or he was just out that way anyway, but either way, the result's still the same.
Good bit of rubbing and racing in the BNT V8s. Andrew Anderson up the inside of Timmy Edgell.
Yeah, teammates battling for position again of Andy Booth and Andrew Anderson. One thing we noticed, Al, you know, we went back at the start, because these guys are jostling for position, has allowed the top 3 and 4 to pull away.
Lap record times in race 1. Kane Scott set a new lap record. That was broken by Fogg later on. Has a look down the inside, nowhere to pass there.
No, I think it's a bit of a dummy. That's all it was.
All about applying the pressure, trying to force a mistake.
It's interesting you hear Angus Fogg in his car there going from 2nd to 3rd in that short straight. Most guys actually leave the car in 2nd and just let it go to the limiter or the maximum revs the cars are allowed to go.
How close is that?
Doesn't get any closer.
Look at that, great shots. Life's good for Foggy.
Oh, hey, you see that pitch there, Clint? The inside wheel was locked. Now, that's the brake bias we're talking about.
Coming out of the ripples, just sliding it wide.
You've got to be very, very careful that... Whoa, what's going on here?
Well, I think hasn't been careful enough.
It's that much dust, I don't think he knows which way to go.
Neither does he. Luke Yulden back into racing from Melbourne in the Powerball Ford.
Now, how's Paul Manuel getting on in this race? Because that's the one to watch. They made the changes like we spoke about to that car in the hope they can get a bit of car speed up, transfer that information to Andy Booth's car.
He was 14th in the first race. This is looking back at Simon Richards in the SCW Eurodrive Ford.
Yeah, we've seen this car smoke a bit, you know.
Wow,
I actually think
it's for the hydraulic car of Porter, and look what's happened in the back there.
Well, that's Mac Peach going off the inside. We saw Simon Richards go off the inside as well. Rubbins Racing.
BNT V8s, you're on board Simon Richards. That's Porter in front. They come around. Oh, look at Peach, he's already sideways.
Yeah, that's what happened. Had a good look down the inside. Unfortunately, Mac Peach was there.
And this is the earlier incident with unlucky Luke Yulden going off onto the grass.
Strange place to go off by yourself, Clint. Maybe as assisted in that.
Let's take a look at the hydraulic best under pressure moment. You're on board with Michael Bristow. That's Adam Brook and Williams in front.
Oh, here we go. Michael's going to pull out of the draft here. 160 kilometres an hour. Absolutely fantastic move.
Under pressure, nails it, even if a couple of wheels are on the grass.
Yeah, that's the experience he's got from the development series coming forward. Previous champion, of course.
A few problems here for the power build entry of Luke Youlden. A lot of play in that left front wheel, so they're having to look under the car, so I'd say it'd be a possible steering or suspension issue, so he could be here for quite some time.
Roger Davis keeping us up to date with what's happening down pit lane, back out on track. There is Paul Manuel, the guinea pig this weekend for the AV8 Motorsport team with the Commodores, trying to get the speed out of those Holdens in the battle against the flying Fords.
We're back on board of Andrew Porter here, but one thing we noticed before, we saw the smoke come out the side of the car. I actually thought it was the car looking a wheel because it was blue smoke. I'm starting to think it might actually be engine trouble in that car, Clint.
Well, he's certainly not going fast now. Look at that.
Yeah, see the smoke? Not coming from the tyre, it's probably out the exhaust. There you go.
Disappointment there for the Hydrolink Hyundai construction Ford of Andrew Porter. Simon Richards just screams past. Back out in front, it's still Kane Scott. Leads the championship by 19 points now after winning race 1 here at Timaru. If he can stay here, if McIntyre stays in third, he'll increase that lead to 34 points.
You'll see Angus just monstering the back of Kane Scott's car under brakes. You know, it looks good, but what happens, Kane has the ability, being out front, to apply the throttle first. First gear, second gear here, that short shift, Clint. Okay, because he controls the throttle, it's one thing Angus catching up under brakes. Because he dictates the throttle, he'll always pull away.
Roger Davis busy in the pits.
Bit of work being done on Paul Pedersen's car. They're attending to the right front. He's obviously been involved in some sort of skirmish on the racetrack. A lot of tape going on the front there, but looks like they've got him back out on the racetrack.
Costly weekend for Paul Pedersen. He started this round in the top 5. He's dropping out of that, replaced by Angus Fogg. And there is Andrew Porter. He's having problems as well, and that doesn't look good.
Yeah, look, he just hear the last bit of that engine shutting down. It had that rattle to it, known as a death rattle.
So disappointment for Porter. He's out of the race.
Well, we got to watch for the crossover here down the inside by Timmy. No, he's a brave man doing that to Andrew Anderson.
Let's go back to Roger Davis with Andrew Porter.
Yeah, thanks, Clint. We talked a lot about the air temperature at the start of the race and the car's getting hot, and Andrew Porter looks like that's exactly what's happened with your car.
Yesterday we had a fan belt come off, so we cooked our engine, and we just had a makeshift one that we had in the back of the trailer we put in, but going down the back straight it hit 105, 130 around the back of the course, so we couldn't go any further.
So Chris Adams, Inky Tulloch, and now Andrew Porter out of this race, back into the top 5. Andy Booth, he's moved up into 5th place for this, the second race. Anderson still under pressure from Timmy Edgell and the Chesters Ford.
Yeah, but the real battle's up front now. 3 cars, 2 championship rivals going on, plus Angus Fogg.
And we'll be back with their battle. Stay with us in the BNT V8s. Welcome back to the 16-lapper Levels Raceway in Timaru, and there is that battle between Kane Scott, Fogg and McIntyre.
Clint, isn't it amazing? You look down that back straight, and everywhere you look, there's battles, 2 or 3 cars. That's what Timaru does. Brings close racing to the whole class.
He's had that Fujitsu Ford really hooked up and dialed up this weekend, Kane Scott. Racing the trucks as well, but having a good time in the V8s.
Clint, you see one thing? See the front of Angus Fogg's car under the live scud? You see there's a little bit of wood there, right there. See how it's actually been dislodged and moving sideways? That can actually cause the cars to overheat.
That's that little piece of wood that Roger Davis was telling you about at the start of the race.
Yeah, what they do, the teams put that in there because it actually increases the amount of downforce on the front of the cars.
There's the guinea pig again. Paul Manuel, wonder what sort of downforce he's getting out of that Commodore.
You know, let's just hope they've made improvements on the Commodore, get a bit more speed to get them closer to the Fords, because we need that Ford GM battle start to come back again.
Andy Knight too in his new car right behind him. Of course, he had a great weekend at Pukekohe, the Pukekohe man, Paul Manuel. Started on pole, had a race win.
Yeah, but you have a look at the side of Paul's car, probably not this the best angle, but down the straight. You'll see how high those Commodores are off the ground compared to the Fords. That's what they're having to do at the moment to try to make the cars work. It's not the best to get the best out of the aerodynamics out of cars, though.
A lot of experimenting with what the rear setup in the front compared to the Fords.
Yeah, there's a little bit going on, but you know, the cars are so much different to the Fords. They've just got to keep throwing different ideas at the Holdens, and hopefully sooner or later something will work.
These are the two flying Fords up front. Look at the three of them, in fact. Scott, Fogg, McIntyre.
That's, you know, first gear, second gear. That curb right there, you want to stay away from that. No matter what happens, never ever get on top of it. If you do and get it wrong, it just spits you straight into the wall.
We talked about winning that battle for pole. Such a crucial event here this weekend to set yourself up in the front of this field.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm referring to. Look at the Commodore and look at the Ford. Look at the difference in the height of the front of the cars. Going back to the battle of qualifying, Clint, no more important here at Timaru. The next one to watch out for the battle for qualifying was when we get to the Manfield round.
Anderson currently in a good battle there. On board with Michael Bristow running in about 8th place. Trying to move up that field. Adam Brook right behind him.
Yeah, this is coming on to the end of the back straight, or turn 4 now. 120 metres. Hard down. 4th down to second gear.
Eddie Bell up in front. Andrew Anderson under pressure from Timmy Edgell.
God, he's got the thing on the... Look, it's just balancing, isn't it? You see just a little pinch of the front wheel there, keeping the momentum going. Oh, here we go. Nah, that's coming out of the hairpin, Clint.
McIntyre having a look at Fogg.
Well, this could be the crossover we're looking for, though.
Side by side, coming onto the entrance of the main straight. He's having a real good go here down the inside.
Oh, it's getting tight.
Foggy shuts the door.
Oh, he's entitled to do that, though. Nothing wrong with that. You're allowed to be defensive.
He's all over him like a rash. John McIntyre in the protector safety Ford this weekend.
But watch this. We expect Angus to pull away right now.
Just sliding it out of this big sweeper.
That's because the cars are in first gear. It's such a slow gear. They accelerate 420 horsepower. Light up, nowhere to go.
I wonder if those brakes are just starting to go off in Foggy's car like in the end of the first race. Knight down the inside of Manuel.
Yeah, now watch for the crossover of John Penny as well.
Penny getting it on the drag race.
Yeah, look, the door's been opened now. Okay, Andy Knight's there. John Penny can just get in the draft. He may be able to slip through underneath Paul Manuel as well.
Andy Knight's had success around this track in the Toyota Racing Series now in the big tin top taxi.
Oh, Paul,
makes the
get
move
it back
stick.
in.
Problems for Andrew Anderson.
Now, we saw him have a battle with Timmy Edgell. You know, we haven't seen what happened before the corner. We've seen one car go off. You know, was there another car involved?
Nick Ross on the back of John Penny. Let's take a look at what happened. You're on board Michael Bristow.
Yeah, very hard to tell from there. It looked like Andrew may have been off the apex a little bit and locked the wheel up going in. That might have put him a little bit further out into the marbles on the outside.
Back on track now, so there's been a bit of drama as the Tex on side boys just gets a little bit sideways.
One thing about the circuit, Clint, the cars never ever get a chance to recover. The straight is so short, everything is hot. The tyres are hot, the brakes are hot, the drivers are hot, the engine temperature's hot. The only time they get a chance to cool off is when the race is finished.
Physically, it's like wrestling a car around the circuit.
You can't explain the heat through the pitches. It is, 50, 55 degrees today because it's such a hot ambient temperature out there. The drivers will be feeling it.
And I tell you what, Andrew Anderson, he's feeling it. He wants to try and make up for that spin and that off. Charging back up through the field.
The other thing too, which we have to take into account, okay, is that when a car goes off, the tyres are very, very hot. When they're on the circuit, it's tar seal versus the rubber. When they go off, they actually pick up all the dirt, the sand and everything. It can actually take 1 or 2 laps for a car to get back to normal race speed again when they do go off, like we saw Andrew Anderson.
Further in the background, you'll see Adam Brook and Dale Williams having a good scrap in the top 10 battle. Brook, 10th in the first race. Dale Williams was the leading rookie coming into this round. And the Stabby Craft Ford, run by Moose and the boys out of Taupo.
Yeah, look, you say he's the leading rookie. Believe it or not, Craig Beard gets classified as a rookie in this class. 23 championships, won more GT3 races in the world than anybody else.
It stretches the truth, though, doesn't it, really?
100%.
There is Beardo, Booth right behind him. Big gap back to Edgell now. Here's this great scrap for 8, 9, 10, 12 in the championship. For this race, on board Adam Brook, the Versatile Buildings BA, looking back at Dale Williams, hanging on to it. Oh, he's got off.
No, he's kept it.
He's back on.
Oh, magnificent save though, wasn't it? You see him, he had opposite lock. What I'm referring to there, the back of the car stepped out, the steering wheel's pointed the same way the car's sliding. That's just a natural instinct these drivers learn.
Out of the PRS into the BNT V8s. On board with McIntyre, the protector safety forward, looking ahead at that battle right behind Fogg and Scott. Whoa!
Oh, okay, interesting. You heard what happened there.
Fogg trying to have a look at Scott.
He did. Kane went down to first gear. Sounded like the revs didn't quite match the gear he was in. Locked up the rear wheels. That's what we saw.
Now, could this give Fogg a chance to get the slipstream?
No, because what happened is Angus had to back out of that. Okay, Kane was able to accelerate, kind of status quo by the end of the straight.
It'd certainly give McIntyre a chance to close up, though. How close is that?
Yeah, but unfortunately, Angus is on the wrong side of the circuit here. He's on the outside of the corner.
But no. McIntyre trying to have a look down the inside. Fogg may get left out to dry.
Just like Angus was before, Johnny's on the wrong side for this corner here as well. Wow,
that's
look
why
at that.
they say it's tight, technical, twisting.
It's non-stop action from lap 1 to lap 16.
Great racing, great driving, giving each other a bit of racing room. It's still the Fujitsu Ford, the LG Ford, and then it's the defending champion, Johnny McIntyre.
One thing we're going to have to watch here, and this is where this battle is going to become really interesting, is these three are taking speed out of each other. You'll see in the background Craig Baird start to loom. Andy Booth not far behind him.
Remember, Booth third overall in the championship, the best of the Commodores. But this is the championship lead. Johnny McIntyre, he's 19 points behind Scott.
You'll see him he had his hand up to his helmet there, probably just putting the drink bottle or the drink hoses we see there in the thing, bit of fluids in, let the body recover a little bit.
Remember too, it's been a good weekend for Angus Fogg. He's closing in on that, getting back up towards the top 5, which is where he thinks obviously he should be in that Ford after plenty of drama in Pukekohe.
He learned a few lessons earlier on, you know, he has settled down a bit. He needs to realise, and he has of course, he needs to accumulate points for the championship. Now you watch Kane pull away right now. Okay, because he gets to apply the throttle first, dictates it, get their speed on just that little bit earlier than the other two.
Must be frustrating trying to get a pass around here.
It does. You really have to try to create the opportunity. What I say by that is you try to suck the other driver in front of you into a mistake.
Last lap, and because that three-way freight train up front has been such a great little dogfight, look at that. Beardo and Booth just been able to just slightly close it up. So can Scott hang on for his second win of the weekend?
Shame it's not another 2 or 3 laps because allow those other two to come back in. It'll be a 5-way battle.
Can the tyres hang on? What about the brakes?
Yeah, look, he'll be defensive to the nth degree from here on in. You know, he's only got 7 or 8 corners to go.
Great thing about these cars, good speed, and you need good brakes to slow them down.
Oh, every time, you know, these brakes are up to 850 degrees centigrade.
Look at that, the 3 top dogs in the championship having a great scrap here.
It does not get any closer than this, does it?
Beardo trying to get right up into the bumper too.
Yeah, it's 1 lap to go. You know, Kane's probably used the best of his tyres. The brakes will be fading a little bit.
Too wide. Around the hip, and McIntyre just losing it. Beard having another look.
And this is really the last opportunity. Is he going to hold it? I think he will.
Well, it's going to be Kane Scott in that Fujitsu heat pump. It's been an absolute pumper, and he makes it 2 from 2 on the level in Timaru. McIntyre had a look, but Fogg held on for second. McIntyre third. Boothie coming home in 5th, and Beardo in there, squeezed into 4th. The looks of a race winner this morning. Kane Scott takes the second win of the weekend. Angus Fogg second, McIntyre third.
Look down the middle there, Clint. It's all blue. The only red is the holding of Andy Booth.
In 5th, and his teammates Anderson 9th, with Paul Manuel coming home in 13th.